Recovery is stupendous.
Achievable.
Hope.
Freedom.
Empowering.
It's unique to everyone.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Getting a new lease on life.
It's finding restoration after you fall down.
Recovery is having the freedom to enjoy life.
For me, it was finding a way to really love myself.
My recovery is possible in part because of my own sense of purpose.
Welcome to Montana's Peer Network Recovery Talks podcast. I'm Jim Haney, Executive Director. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Recovery Talks. Today, I have two really special guests. They are from the Peer Support Specialist Committee, and that committee works on workforce development. I hate to use the word issues, but topics, and trying to strengthen the workforce of certified behavioral health peer support specialists. So let's have our guests introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Eerica Durham. I'm on the Peer Support Specialist Committee. I've been on the committee since 2020. I've been a peer support specialist since early 2020 and took this training in 2019. So I've been a peer support specialist now for close to 3 years. Excellent.
Welcome, Eerica.
Thank you.
My name is zcannada. I am the chair of the Peer Support Specialist Committee, and I've been a member of the committee since 2021, and I've been doing peer support for about 3 years, and I'm glad to be able to talk about what we're working on currently to support the peer support specialist workforce.
Excellent. Yeah, because you guys have a big project. Now, this committee, for listeners who don't know, this committee's done a lot of things in a few short years, but this is by far the biggest. And let's jump in. So give us a little overview of what you're proposing, what the changes are.
So the proposal that we're bringing forth has kind of three basic objectives. One is to create a candidacy level license. So there'll be 2-level licenses like there are with other behavioral health professionals. There'll be a candidacy license and then a full licensure level. Within that candidacy level, there'll be a supervised work experience that will be 1,000 hours of work experience with specific trainings that will be required during that. And we can kind of talk about that a little bit later. The second goal is to address supervision. We want to make sure that supervision for our workforce is in statute. And we're looking to have 1 hour of supervision for every 20 worked during the candidacy, and 1 hour of supervision for 40 hours worked for people who are fully licensed. The third objective is to enact changing our status from certified behavioral health peer support specialists to licensed behavioral health peer support specialists.
Nice.
So those are 3 key objectives.
Nice. So before we get into the details of these, because I definitely want to hear about each one, why is this, and I'm going to call it a package, this is sort of a package of changes, right? Why is this important? Why do you feel it's important for the currently certified behavioral health peer support specialists?
First, it would be to create the stability and the foundation that peer support needs to grow effectively and in a safe manner for peer support specialists themselves and for public safety.
Okay, good reasons. Yeah, Zach, what you have any thoughts on that?
So in creating the candidacy level, this puts us more in line with what other behavioral health professionals in the field do as part of their license, as part of their licensing. Mm-hmm. And so it puts us more on the same field. Mm-hmm. It also gives us credibility as professionals in our field. Our field of practice, we come from lived experience, and then also of a field of training. But the main piece that we bring is from our lived experience rather than an educational institution. And the value that brings for us in our workforce, or to the peers that we serve, is invaluable. And I think that the push that we see for peer support across the board in all of the different agencies and is evidence of that. We want to see that our workforce is prepared and supported in things that they experience in the field across the spectrum. So things that peers, whether they're working at an inpatient facility, an outpatient setting, a mental health setting, an addiction center, or another an emergency room, or a treatment court, that they are prepared with the support that they need in addressing issues that come up across the board with the peers we work with.
That sounds great. So currently, peer supporters, there's no candidacy, correct?
That's correct.
So it's either you're certified or you're not certified.
Yes.
Yeah. So this would create the candidacy. So how long would the candidacy be for? How many hours? Typically it's by hours, right? Hours worked.
So for the candidacy period, it would be 1,000 hours of supervised work experience, which basically amounts to a minimum of 7 months or about 1 year of full-time work as a peer support specialist during the candidacy period. Within that, for the candidacy period, there's specific minimum requirements that need to be met. So there needs to be a minimum of 200 hours of one-on-one direct individual peer support, and that is verified through the supervisor. There needs to be a minimum of 10 hours of facilitating or co-facilitating a peer-led group. That wouldn't be like a 12-step program. It would be one of the approved peer support-led groups. And then we have some additional education competencies that we developed based on feedback from the workforce for what people experience in the field, and also based on we went to compliance from the Board of Behavioral Health and the complaints that have come up since we've been overseen by the board. And we wanted to directly address those so that we can protect not only our workforce, but also the public health. And so those hours are 12 hours of suicide prevention and intervention education, 2 hours of opiate overdose prevention intervention education, 10 hours of professional boundaries and ethical responsibility education, 6 hours of self-care and wellness education, 4 hours of de-escalation education, and then 6 hours of professional development. And so that what this does is it essentially doubles the amount of education that a peer support specialist would have going into being licensed.
And they would do all of this during the candidacy period.
Yes. So they would do that during that first year while they are working in the field.
And what happens if they don't finish that? What happens if they do the 200 hours, but they don't complete all of the education requirements? Is there a time limit on it?
So then you would just as someone who is doing like their ACLC or their LAC candidacy, they would renew their candidacy license. And then once those hours had been completed, then they could apply for full licensure.
But is there a time limit? Can you sit in candidacy for 5 years or 2 years, or is there a limit to that piece?
So each time you renew to the board does have the opportunity to review it. And if someone had sat in candidacy for multiple years, then the board may ask that person to come to the board and present why is it, what's going on that they're taking so much time.
Because you could, the reason I'm asking that is because you would be working during the candidacy period. The hope is the person does the hours and the education within the 1 year, gets it accomplished, and then becomes fully licensed, right?
That would be the idea.
Yeah. But I could see some people won't do that. They won't do all the education, and then it would carry over to the next year. Your hours come with you, but you have to complete all the education requirements, if I'm understanding that. Yeah,
that's correct. But the difference between what you're doing, what your supervision requirement for the candidacy versus being fully licensed would look a little different. And
2 hours of during the candidacy and 1 hour once you're licensed.
That's correct.
So that's a little motivation, right, Eerica? That's a little motivation for the candidate and the employer to get through that process, because currently peer supporters are doing 2 hours, and we know that's a lot.
Yes,
we know that's a lot.
That's definitely a motivating factor, but also looking at coming into the workforce in 2020, I got my license January 13th, 2020. Looking at the things that could have benefited me as a new peer support specialist in the workforce was having that continuing engagement with other peer supports where I wasn't left alone to feel so alone in the process, and continue that mentoring relationship and to build those skills that just after having, PS 101 alone, I didn't feel, in my experience, I was prepared. And, I took a new path and I trudged a road that had not been sought in the state of Montana. And had I not reached out for my own personal engagement and support from Montana's peer network, different peer supports in the workforce that were out there, I don't know if I could have made it this long. And to learn and grow through the changes and the boundaries and the mistakes, and I've progress, not perfection. That's what my recovery teaches me. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to effectively support others, I have to support myself. Mm-hmm. And not everyone's going to seek that support, and organizations also need to be held accountable to their peer supports as well, and continuing that engagement. So it's a relationship that goes both ways with that mutuality and respect. Mm-hmm. And having that candidacy license will only help grow with all that continuing education, keep minds fresh and on top of what's happening out there. But it just keeps us surrounded by like-minded individuals who understand and know our scope of practice, which is different in how we can effectively advocate for ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
In public safety.
Sure. And so you've taken, there's really the three components to it. And then also, which is sort of the overarching one, is to move this from certified behavioral health peer support specialist to licensed. So a change in the C to an L. That's really sort of the capstone for this proposal. These are sort of the details to the L, to changing it to licensed instead of certification. Is that right, Zach?
Yes. So and the steps of moving from being recognized as certified to licensed is a pathway that we're following from our predecessors from before us. Mm-hmm. Other behavioral health professionals follow the same pathway. If you look back into the 90s in Montana, licensed addiction counselors were certified chemical dependency counselors. And in 2001, there was a piece of legislation brought forth creating an act to change certified chemical dependency counselors to licensed addiction counselors. And in following suit and of that pathway that was laid before us, we've been overseen by the board for a few years now, and we are increasing the education requirements for our workforce to strengthen and support our workforce, and we are looking to be recognized as licensed professionals in our field. And we're really, for our field, we feel like we're treading some new paths, but really we're following the footsteps. And this is gonna, we feel like this is going to put us as recognized as in our behavioral health professionals, our field, and further make it possible for peer supporters to be recognized for the services that are provided for peers across agency lines. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so you've got this proposal, you packaged it up. So what's happening now? What's happening with this proposal? Where are you at now with that?
So as of the date of this podcast, 12/16, our bill has moved into the step of draft and assembly, which basically means that we are one step away from having a bill number assigned. But if someone would like to take a look at the proposal, and they can go to the laws.leg.mt.gov, and our draft bill number is LC 1244.
So they could look that up, and I'm familiar with that site. That site literally has every update and every change for the next 5 months. It's going to put everything on there, right?
Right, and you can click on the current bill draft text, and you can actually read the bill as it's going to move forward, and in all the legalese at all. Yeah.
And you have a sponsor. Who's your sponsor of the bill? Who's carrying it?
So our sponsor is Representative Mary Cafaro.
Okay.
And she's been a staunch supporter of peer support from our very beginnings, and so we're really glad to have her as our sponsor for this bill.
Yeah, that's great. Mary's out of Helena, so LC 1244 if you want to look that up. And what if somebody's listening to this podcast? I'm a peer supporter, and I'm out in, Frontier, Montana, and I have questions. How do I get in touch with you guys?
So if you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach me by email. My email is zcannada@pfcmt.org. You can also reach me by phone at 406-203-7937.
Okay. And Eerica, should people just reach out to Zach, or can they reach out to you too?
They can reach out to me as well. My phone number, preferably by text so I can see it, is 406-204-9048, or by email, Eerica, ERICA, at extradistances.com, and it's spelled EXTRADISTANCES.com. And I also want to add that the added benefit of this candidacy license also moves peer support not only in a licensure position to legitimize our craft and our trade, because our experience is so invaluable to be able to support others to find a place of recovery, but it puts us in a documentable 1,000-hour history to be able to move us in peer support in a position one day as a state to be able to bill national insurances, providing those opportunities come available. So it puts us at a level to be able to have a national peer support license. So it moves us closer to having that documentable history to make it easier and a quicker pathway for all peer support specialists to be able to bill those services in the future and to help us gain the independence as a profession.
Great, great. Well, you've clearly put a lot of work into this, and I want to say thank you for that, for all the time, and thank you on behalf of all the peer supporters, not only the current ones, but there's future ones. There might be future ones listening to this podcast they're not peer supporters. They haven't been through training, but maybe they hear it and they think, geez, I'd like to do that. That sounds great. I'd like to be like Eerica, or I'd like to be like Zach. So thanks for all the hard work you've put in on it.
I'm living proof. If I could do it, anyone else can.
Right.
Okay. Anything else we need to know about this proposal?
I just want to say thank you for having us on. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening moving forward on the state level for peer support. And if anyone is listening to this, is interested in getting involved or wants some more information, please reach out to either Eerica or myself, and we'll let you know how you can get involved in supporting peer support across the state of Montana.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in once again to Recovery Talks podcast from Montana's Peer Network. Take care and happy holidays.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works, recovery is possible.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.